Hi, everyone. It's so nice for all of you to have signed up to learn a little bit more about this project. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what was presented live in the info sessions. And hopefully I hit all the notes. If not, feel free when I post this in the private Facebook group to go ahead and ask your questions. I'm happy to answer them. So to get started, I'm going to share my screen. Let me do that. And I am going to put up the actual presentation here so that you get what everyone else got. Hopefully I can handle this. Yep. All right. So welcome to the Family Caregiver book info session. Technically the replay, but I recorded this new just to protect privacy issues regarding who was on the actual calls. So we're going to go through very quickly because I know you're all busy. You're all caregivers. The project overview. We're going to go through a little bit of who am I, how you can share who you are, what to expect moving forward, and then I'll just answer some Q&As that I had gotten previously. So without further ado, let's move on. The project overview. So here's the thing. You all have a story to tell. And your loved one, the person that you're caring for, they have a story to tell too. And I always ask the question, who's going to tell your story if you don't, right? Who's going to know about what you've gone through if you're not the one to share it in the way you want to share it? So, in that respect, a lot of people think to themselves, oh boy, I'd love to, but man, especially with family caregivers, I am overcommitted already. Who has time for this, right? I'm sure people are nodding. You may also be thinking, hey, you know what? I can't write. Who do I think I am to even think I can do this and have a story that anybody cares about? So that's a lot of self-talk, huh? And then of course there's always the where do I begin? How in the world do I start this? So what I'm going to say to all of that is welcome. Welcome to this family caregiver club. You are not alone, but you're also not alone in those self-doubt kind of thoughts because every writer has them. I've been a writer my entire life. And every time I stare at the blank page, I think to myself, who in the world is going to want to know about this? I can't do this. I'm not as good as so and so as a writer. Know that every single writer, even Stephen King has a mantra that basically says, writing is the seat of the pants to the seat of the chair. And he does it every morning. He's just gotten into the practice. So I want you to think of this whole project, this caregiver collaboration book project, as an experience that's really going to energize you, empower you, help you heal through your writing. Writing is huge therapy, and help others who will read it, right? And this is going to be a part of the legacy that you and your family leave behind. So, with that in mind, this project is funded by the Piscerni, I believe that's how it's pronounced. In Italian, I'm Italian, if you can't tell from how I talk with my hands. It's in Italian, it's actually the Picherne Family Foundation. They put out a call for an artist outreach project. I had pitched this to them. It kind of dawned on me, I'm a book coach, among many other things, empowerment coach. But in my book coaching work, I help people turn the trials of their lives into triumphs, right? I help them take stories from their lives and turn them into books. That's an endeavor. That is a commitment. That is a long-term kind of work project, right? And sometimes, especially when you have other priorities like family caregivers, I just realized how many stories were going untold. So I thought to myself, hey, why don't I pitch putting together a book with 26 to 52 family caregivers, each one authoring one chapter, maybe two, And we put this book together, sort of like the Chicken Soup for the Soul kind of book. And the foundation said, well, you need to connect with a nonprofit. And so that's where USC's Family Caregiver Support Center and St. Barnabas Senior Services comes into play. Several of you are from there. And the goal is to actually do this book, publish it in December of this year. And I really think we can hit that. And maybe even in November, do a public reading. The reason I want to hit those dates is because A, I think we can do it. And B, November is National Caregiver Month, I believe. And it would be great to have a public reading and to prime that pump to get media interested in the book, right? You're always hooking onto what the media is always already looking for. In December, it'd be great to have a published book, right, to give as gifts. If we don't hit that, then we have a whole year for this project. So we could until May, and May also is Mental Health Awareness Month. I believe it's also Alzheimer's Awareness Month. There are several other things tied into that month. So it's all good. We'll see how we go. So before we go any further, who am I? Um, it's probably important that you know that. So again, a book coach, I'm an empowerment coach. I really help people with overcoming adversity in their lives, applying storytelling techniques to help them. I like to say your life is not a fairy tale, but you are the hero of your own story. So I apply storytelling techniques to help people kind of get unstuck in their lives. And sometimes that takes the form of them really wanting to write a book, whether it be memoir or something else. That's kind of what I do. On the family caregiver side, I was raised by a mom who was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And since the age of 10, I was pretty much the family caregiver, in great part because my parents are immigrants. They came over from Sicily, so English, not first language for them. And I just kind of took over the duties. When my father passed away in my early 20s, unexpectedly, I then became full time my mother's primary caregiver, and then my younger sister, 2 years my junior, she also kind of exploded in a psychotic episode and was diagnosed as well with paranoid schizophrenia. So there I was caught between the two of them. Um, I will speak only from my experience. I was a terrible family caregiver because I gave everything to them. For myself, I was climbing the ladder. Nobody in the outside world knew anything was going on really at home. So I was juggling all these balls. I was keeping everything secret. I was stuffing it down, and I nearly did myself in. It took me several years, more than a decade of therapy to actually learn to manage it, learn to put boundaries in place, learn to put my oxygen mask on first before helping others, right? So I will also say that when I first, I'm from Chicago originally. When I first came over to Los Angeles, I had the opportunity to live with an elderly woman. I was 36 years old. She was 96 years old. So in exchange for free rent, became her caregiver. So I've been around the block on that, and I've been around the block in writing. So I have 5 published books out. 4 of them have won awards. The first 2 are the memoirs. So the S Word and Committed, those are both the stories of being raised by a mom diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and then becoming caregiver not only to her, but then my younger sister. Committed is that one. But both books are about that part of my life, right? From my life. And then another book here that I've shown is Miracle on Mall Drive. That is a fictionalized holiday book. And then seriously, are we there yet? I actually wrote that with my husband. It's a Dr. Seussy kind of rhyming romp. It's almost like a picture book, but for adults who are struggling with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas of life. Um, I bring this up because a lot of people think, wow, I've got to only write memoir if I want to write about my life. And that's just not true. You can fictionalize things, you can do graphic novels, picture books. It's all up to you. So that's pretty much me. Now, who are you? There is a private Facebook group I have invited you all to. If you didn't get the invitation, um, that's fine. You can just go to facebook.com/groups, family caregiver book, and ask to join. You will have several prompts. I'll probably be in there every day, at least once. And that is where homework will be posted. That is where tips, inspiration, etc. And you'll find this replay. Now, what to expect moving forward. 3 things I just put here. 1, you commit. Put yourself first. You choose to give yourself the gift of writing, right? Sign up, actually make yourself a priority, calendar yourself. And and just know that you doing that is going to actually, as I said before, empower you. It's going to infuse you with energy. Your circumstances may not change, they probably won't, but your entire demeanor, your attitude, I promise you, it will change. Now, 2, getting clear on your story. I have a questionnaire that I have sent to everyone, I believe. It's also posted in the Facebook group. Simple questions. I need you to answer those, especially the one that asks you to answer it in only 250 words. Right? There's a rhyme and reason to my madness. This will help you get started thinking of the chapter you want to write, but it'll also get me kind of thinking of how to organize and structure this book, right? With different kind of categories. As a family caregiver, it's all over the place, right? There were times when I loved what I was doing, was so compassionate with my mother, my sister. And then there were times where I wish they just weren't around. So we want to make sure that in this book, we kind of cover everything because it's a book by caregivers for caregivers, right? And there's going to be actually like a format that we'll all follow so that it's all cohesive. And 3, I want you to workshop your legacy. Show up, do the work, right? Even if it's the replays, even if it's later, I will walk you through at every step what you need to do. Okay. So just stick with it. Don't give up. Don't think if it's not perfect, you can't do it, right? Perfection is the thief of progress. So let's not go there. All right. So I already told you there's the Facebook group, Family Caregiver Book. It's like this. If you had gotten the email, it will say you've been invited to join the Family Caregiver Collaborative Project on Facebook. Go ahead and sign up there, introduce yourself. Questionnaire. I also sent that to everyone and it's posted in the Facebook group. Please try to get that back to me on Monday morning, May 22, so that I have time to go through it. And you also may have gotten this fuller email. Make sure that you kind of whitelist my email, paulinamilana8@gmail.com, so that you don't miss anything. This also takes you through. And and finally, you also, where did I put it? Will be getting, I need you, this is a caregiver collaboration agreement. So it's posted in the files section on the Facebook group, and I also have emailed it to everyone. Make sure you read that, sign it, get it back to me so that we can get started. All right. So I think, let's see if I can get back here. That's it. We've had some questions, and basically, what were some of the questions? I will put out more of a kind of a schedule on how we'll go about doing this. But I really want to see, one of the questions in the questionnaire is what times kind of work for you. So that'll be in there. The collaboration agreement answers a lot of the questions that were asked, so you can read that. Please try and get me everything by Monday. And I'm trying. Oh, this is a big one. So here's the thing. when we tell our stories, especially the more personal they are, a couple things happen. One of them is it brings up a lot of stuff that maybe we haven't been dealing with. I want you to know that while we'll be dealing with some of this stuff, the first portion I kind of call think like a shrink, because you do need to put that kind of hat on for yourself. Um, but I'm not a therapist, and there's a big difference between getting kind of coaching like this help, even from someone who's been there, done that, and having an actual therapist if you need it. So I encourage everyone, because stuff will come up, and writing personal stories, that's why writing is therapy. So you want to make sure you've got someone who's there if you need it. Okay. I'm going to be practicing my boundaries, um, and keeping all the focus on the writing, right? So just wanted to put that out there. And another thing that happens, people buy trouble. That's what I call it. We buy trouble. We think to ourselves, oh man, I can't talk about this because that person's going to get upset, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. And what happens if somebody sees this? And then, all right, that's all in the future. The only thing we have to do, get it on the page. Get it on the page exactly the way you want to get it on the page. Later, we'll deal with all of those kinds of questions, right? Dealing with those questions now, it just stops you from doing it. So please don't go there. Get it on the page. Writers like to talk about vomiting it out. I know that's a bit crass, but it's true, right? You keep that stuff inside, that's poison. We don't want that. We want to get it out, right? Get it on the page. Tell your story the way you want it told. We'll deal with everything else later. All right. I think those were the questions that I got. If anything is not answered, please let me know, and just drop me a comment in the Facebook group, and I will see you all. Thanks again. So excited. Bye.